Hey guys, it's Kelly here again and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another bookish video. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I've DNFed so far in my reading journey. I have my trusty phone over here and I'm going to check on my Goodreads. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to remember every single one of them, but at least the ones that I see on the app, I know. And I will let you know why I DNFed them as well. First off, I'm gonna start with my currently reading list because there's a few there that I've not finished. And the first one I'm seeing is The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. I started this one and I'm not completely DNFing it. I just DNFed it for the moment. And that moment has been 3 years, I think, now. Is it? December 2018. Okay, no, it's 2 years. 1 year. 1.5 years. Okay, it's a lot. I read, I believe, around 40 pages of it. Does it say how many pages I read? No. I read around 40 pages of it, and not that it was a bad book. It wasn't. It's just, I guess I picked it up at the wrong time, and I wasn't very invested in the story and the characters, and I was craving something different, so I just put it down, and then since then I have not been able to pick it up, but I am hoping that maybe one day I will. It's still on my shelf, it still has a bookmark inside, so hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, I actually finish it, because it did sound like an interesting premise. It told the story of this old man who collects lost things, and he has a whole house full of a collection of things that people lost, and he believes that everything that has been lost that he has in his collection has some kind of sentimental meaning to the person who actually lost it, and he believes that one day, or he hopes that one day, he will find all of the owners and return their objects that were missing to them. And he, unfortunately, because he's old, I think gets sick. I don't know, maybe he dies. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten to that part. But he gets sick and he entrusts his caretaker to deliver all of the things and find the owners of these lost things. As you can tell, I think I was like 25% into it. Not much had happened, not even emotionally, so I didn't get that invested. Maybe it gets more interesting further along, but that's as far as I got. Again, still hoping that maybe I will finish it, but we'll see. The next one is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. And I am very ashamed to say that I DNF'd this one. It's even more shameful for me to admit that I DNF'd it twice. So I even listened to it as an audiobook, which sucks. It's not that I didn't like the book. Okay, so maybe I didn't like it as much. But the first part, Red Rising, made it to my best of the year when I read it, and it's one of my favorite books to this day. I still love it so much, and I love the audiobooks. The narrator is so good, but the second book was just so political, and there was a lot more intrigue and just talking. This book just didn't have enough for me. It was too political, wasn't a fan of it. I tried listening to it once. I lost where I was when I stopped for a couple of months, then I started it over again. I listened to it for another couple of weeks and then I stopped again. So I have absolutely my whole head is a jumble of what this book is about at this point. So I don't know, maybe I'm not even gonna be able to finish it, or I'll just try to skim through the audiobook and kind of depend that my memory has enough of it so that I kind of piece things together. But I really do want to finish it so I can read the next ones, because I do love Red Rising and I love the universe and I want to know what happens to Darrow. But yeah, this book has been a heartbreak after a heartbreak for me. Next up is a very old sci-fi that I found for $1.50 on a used bookshelf stand, and it is Orphans of the Sky by Robert Heinlein. And I found some things in this book interesting, some concepts were interesting, and I do still want to finish it maybe. It's a very short book. It's 200 pages. It's extremely short. I got through half of it. It's the only issue is because it's so old, it has a very old writing style that is it's borderline childish and unbelievable, so I'm kind of struggling to get over that. Other than that, the story is about a spaceship that has been moving through space for hundreds of years. It's a colony ship, and the humans there are living their lives for hundreds of years, but at some point people forgot that they were on a mission to find an inhabitable planet, and they started believing that this spaceship is their entire world. That's not a spaceship, it's like Earth or something, and there's no engineers. They don't know what's actually going on. They believe in gods. It's a religious. They have this whole mythology around their previous captains, and they don't call them captains. They don't realize that they're actually on the ship. Because it's in space and there's a lot of radiation, there's also a lot of cases of mutants. And when a child is born as a mutant or somebody develops some kind of disability, they basically throw them to a abandoned part of the ship, and that's basically the mutants part. There's a war between the mutants and the humans. The mutants are the ones that actually know what's going on, because this abandoned part of the ship is actually the cockpit and the engine room and all of the places that leads you to understand that this is not an actual planet, that this is a moving through space ship. And yeah, they're the ones who actually know physics. And I got to a point where Mutiny was about to go out and there was supposed to be a battle. Like I said, it's an interesting concept and it delves into these interesting topics. I was very interested in the way that they presented their new mythology when they forgot that this was a spaceship. They forgot about science and how humanity kind of moved away from the thought of science and went into a religious state. That was very interesting as a concept and it made you think. But like I said, it was a bit rough for me to get over the old archaic writing style, so I just had to drop it. The next book that I DNFed was Illuminae by Amy Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and I have not officially DNF'd that, okay? So don't get out your pitchforks just yet. I have stopped at around 50%, and I do fully intend on continuing. I just kind of lost interest at some point. It's not a bad book, it's actually a great book. I was very interested. I read through the first half so incredibly quickly. It's probably because of the format as well, but I stopped. I don't know, I moved on to other books. I am definitely going to be picking this up at some point. If I start reading the DNF books, this is the first one I'm going to start with because I need to finish this book and I need to read the rest as well because I want to. It's just, there's nothing wrong with the book. There's apparently something wrong with me. The next book is Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells, and this is, I think, book 3 or 2 in the Murderbot series, Diaries. I read the first one and it was okay. It was a 3-star read for me. And if this is the second one, then I got basically to the end and then stopped. And if it's the third one, then I got the second one, which was also, I think this is the third one. Let me check. I'm not talking out my ass. Yeah, it's the third one. So I read through the second one and it was again a 3-star. These books are okay. They're very short. They're kind of interesting and they're just okay. I read the first one physically, listened to the audiobook for the second and third one. Would recommend reading them physically. I'm not a big fan of the narrator and the way that they do the voices, but the third one, I don't even remember what it's about anymore. I probably should start it over. Yeah, I most definitely have to start it over because I have absolutely no memory of it. But these are okay. They're quick reads and they kill time. They're sci-fi books that tell the story of a android bot who develops autonomy and starts running for his life and goes on missions to find out what has happened to him and how he was able to hack his own system. Yeah, that's basically it. Tells the story of how he got from point A to point B, and everywhere he goes some mystery starts happening and he's kind of dragged into it and he's supposed to help the humans. It was these were interesting books. I do plan on continuing with the third book because there are, I think, 5 now. And as I said, they're quick reads and they're good time killers. The last one is actually one that I don't even know if I should mention it. I started listening to it as an audiobook on a whim, and I was fully aware that I'm gonna hate this book, but I started anyway, and that was Court of Thorns and Roses, and I think I listened to about 12%, or no, actually, you know what? I listened to about 2 hours, so I don't know how much that is, but it was plenty for me, and I am definitely never going to finish that book. But yeah, that's basically it for me. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have finished any of the books that I've mentioned and you really need to urge me to finish them as well when you think that they get better over time, or if I shouldn't give up on them, then comment in the comment section down below. Also, if you didn't like them as well, I'd love to hear if you had trouble with any of the books that I mentioned. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!